I think I found a cure to procrastination. Now, if you're watching this video, you probably have some homework to do, or you probably have some work you're just dragging because you don't want to do it, or because you don't know how to do it, or you think you have the time to do it later and you just don't feel like it right now. Doesn't matter why, you just have some shit to do and you're just not doing it right now. I think we all have had problems in the past with procrastination, and maybe we do still. I still do sometimes, but recently I've had an experience that I think taught me the cure to procrastination, really. So I'll tell you a little story about my YouTube channel. I've always wanted to do YouTube, and I think a lot of people of my generation, we all have wanted at some point to be YouTubers, doing like Mr. Beast challenges and tour compilations or whatever the fuck you were watching when you were young. That always has been like a dream job for young people of my generation, I think. So I've always wanted to do YouTube, and a few years ago, I think 3 years ago, I tried to do it. I tried to get into it, and so I started vlogging, which is not a bad avenue on YouTube. It's pretty hard to get into, and it's pretty hard to have success with, for sure, but it's fun. It's something people do watch, and it's not a bad type of video to start with. But I started with that, and I did a few. They weren't that bad, but it just was so hard to do, man. It was so hard to get my camera out every day and actually film and actually put something together. And then after that, with the editing, was super duper hard to find the best clips and put them together. And I didn't have much experience with editing at the time, so it took a super long amount of time. And I eventually gave up on the vlogs, unfortunately. And I didn't really give up. Like there wasn't a point where I said to myself, like, okay, it's over with the vlogs. We're not doing them anymore. I just started procrastinating on them, like day after day after day after day. And then at some point, like, just forgot about it, went on to something else. But that was my first shot at YouTube. My second try, it was like a year after that or so. I had developed some level of cinematic content abilities, if you will. I like movies. I've always liked movies. And so I bought my first camera. I was 14 and I started filming around. I've always, been practicing with my camera and stuff. And so I started an agency also at that point, and I had a bigger camera. So I was super hyped about the quality of my work, the quality of the cinematic footage I was able to get. I started doing some more cinematic content of me in the gym, me at the beach, whatever I was doing. I was filming and trying to edit it in a cinematic way with some music, with some B-roll, whatever I had, I would do that. And I liked it. I did enjoy it for a while. And I even started posting on Instagram and on TikTok, and I got to like 30,000 followers on TikTok and like 17,000 on Instagram. So I was doing pretty good. But if you've never like done an actual movie project, you can't know how hard it is and how daunting it is of a task to like get the camera out and start filming some actual cinematic content. To make it short, like whenever you don't like a clip, you have to throw it out, and you're very hard on yourself. And then you get to the editing, and it's super duper hard to edit because every single little detail needs to be perfect, because you're such a perfectionist, and I'm such a perfectionist with my work, and it just takes so long. And I knew also at the time that the secret to YouTube, the number one thing you have to do to be successful on YouTube, is to be consistent. And I couldn't be consistent at all with that type of content. I was just editing all night for like 3 days out of the week, and then the rest of the days of the week I just felt unmotivated as hell because I just pulled like 2 all-nighters in a row. Eventually I gave up on that as well. It was way too hard for me to do. I didn't have a breaking point. I just started procrastinating a lot, and eventually day after day it just kind of faded away. And if you go see my other channel that I used to have, you'll see that like consistency start to like slowly fade away. But I gave up on that, and that was my first 2 cracks at YouTube. And I kind of just gave up everything about YouTube and forgot about it for 2 years after that. And I went on to build my content agency, and still working around with cameras and stuff, but nothing to do with YouTube really, and nothing to do with my personal brand at all. I didn't post for like a year and a half on my Instagram that had quite a bit of followers, So I kind of gave up on that as well. And this year, at the beginning of the year, I had a really, really rough patch mentally. I was feeling discouraged, feeling negative all the time. Things were not going great with the business, and it was rough, man. It was really, really rough. And sometimes it still is, by the way, but that's not the point here. But I found channels on YouTube, specifically, if you want to know, The Zerky Show and Dry Creek Wrangler School. Two channels that I stumbled upon, really, and I just watched a video or two of them and tried my best to stay on it for like my attention span. I succeeded, and I realized I really, really enjoyed that content. It made me feel a lot better about myself and about the situation I was going through at the time. And if you've ever watched those channels, they're kind of therapeutic. They're kind of like a therapy session, if you will. You're not speaking, you're just listening, taking in advice, taking in experiences from other people that you might be able to relate to, and then apply either pieces of advice or just soak it in and feel better. It's nothing complicated. It's just dudes talking to the camera like I'm doing right now. But that's where I'm going. I watched those channels and I realized that I really love that type of content. And so I got the urge to start doing YouTube again. So I picked up the camera, and man, I still had that like cinematic reflex for me, that like I needed to have some B-roll, and I needed to have the FX3 to film, and I need to have the best mics, and not phone. The first videos of this channel, if you go see, it's about like financial health and some pieces of advice from starting a business at a young age. But I was adding B-roll to those videos, and I was doing the same things that made me quit YouTube in the first place, like editing for hours because I wanted the videos to be perfect, and filming in the most inopportune moments. Like those things, I knew that they were the things that made me want to quit YouTube, but I still like was doing them because it was a reflex to me. And then I realized like what the channels that I was watching were doing wasn't cinematic shit and super like advanced stuff. It was just people talking to people. That's what it was. Super simple, but super effective and super authentic. That's what made me feel better. It's being able to listen to a real person. That's what I loved about the Zerky Show and Dry Creek and Dry Creek Wrangler School. Sorry about that. But yeah, I realized that I wasn't focusing on the right things. And now, if you go see the channel again, you'll see the evolution of my way of thinking about YouTube. I only do videos of me talking to the camera without any B-roll. Sometimes I'll have my FX3 and I'll have a like cool color grade and it'll be nice visually. And sometimes it'll just be me chilling on the beach with a non-alcoholic beer like I have right here, and be super simple. So I still do some of the FX3 stuff, but I just don't add B-roll, and I don't do subtitles, and I don't do effects and all that jazz, because I realized that it was too hard for me to do. It was just not worth it. And that's where I'm going with the procrastination is I procrastinated for my whole life for YouTube. And sure, I did try some things, which is good. You know, you should always try different stuff, figure out what works for you, what doesn't. And I did that, but I procrastinated a lot on those attempts, and that led me to give up a few times. But now, with what I'm doing right now, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to procrastinate on the videos because I found a formula that's really easy for me to do. Now, are the videos perfect? No. Am I getting a bunch of views? Not at all. Probably talking to nobody right now. But I'm getting the videos done, and I'm being consistent with it, which is the ultimate goal that I had in the beginning. I wanted to be consistent on YouTube because I knew that that was the most important thing. So I did achieve the goal. I just didn't achieve it in the hardest way and in the most optimal way. So I guess the lesson here And it's, you know me, if you've been watching the channel, I don't like to give out lessons and be like a teacher or whatever. I just like to share my experiences and my findings about life and about philosophy. But the lesson here is that if you want to do something, or if you have to do something, drop the ego of thinking that you'll do it perfectly. You won't. I know you're not going to do that homework like 10 days before. And I know you're not going to sit down and study for 5 hours straight tonight. And you know you won't either. You just have an ego that tells you, I'm going to do it at some point. Oh, I'm going to drop the phone and drop TikTok and drop YouTube. And I'm going to study for 5 hours straight. No, you're not. Come on. Like, that's just your ego talking. And you have to accept that. And then once you've accepted that, you have to find a way that's going to be easy for you to do. You have to find a way to get the task or the thing done, even if it's not as optimal as you would have expected it to be in the first place. Now, the YouTube channel thing is just an example. But in your own life, you have a bunch of things, I bet, that you could apply this to. Just to give you an example, you have a girlfriend that really, really likes flowers, but you don't have the time to go pick them up, and you always forget about them. You always forget to go to the flower shop or whatever. Well, instead of just procrastinating on it and forgetting about it every time, find a way to do it that's easy for you. Order it on freaking Amazon. It's not going to be as chivalrous, if you will, and your girlfriend's probably going to do a little comment on like, oh, you ordered them on Amazon, it's not as fancy or whatever. But she'll have flowers in her hands. You think she would rather have nothing and think that you don't think about her, or have a little something that's maybe not as great, but still she has flowers in her hands? Like, I'm sure she's gonna be, if you have a good girlfriend, she's gonna be grateful. I'm sure she will. And then just to give you another example, if you have a girlfriend that likes flowers, but you don't have the money to buy the flowers, go to the freaking local park and steal some flowers from the park. I'm not gonna call the police on you. And I think she's gonna be really happy with that. And if you have a good girlfriend, again, she's not gonna say, oh, those are cheap flowers, you didn't buy them. She's gonna really appreciate that, and she's gonna think that's really cute that you went out of your way and you took time out of your day to go pick up some flowers for her. And you're gonna appreciate it a lot more because it's gonna be easier for you to do. You will get the task or the thing done, and it's gonna be easier for you. The other scenario, you and I know that it's not that you would have done it in the most optimal way, is that you just wouldn't have done anything. Same goes for studies, and same goes for work. If you have a task, if you have something that you need to do, you and I both know you're not going to do it at least like 2 days before the deadline. You're going to wait to the last minute because you can't focus for 5 hours straight on your computer or on your assignment or whatever it is you're doing. We both know you're not going to do it. Not tonight. You're not going to sit down for 5 hours straight doing only that. But you and I know that you like watching Game of Thrones, and you might do that tonight. Well, how about you do both? How about you watch a little Game of Thrones while you study or while you work? And is it going to be optimal, Mr. Dr. Huberman? Probably not. It's not going to be optimal. And you're not going to get as much information from your studies as if you were to be really just studying for hours and hours. It's not going to be optimal. But it's better than the scenario that would have happened, and that you and I, again, both know that would have happened, of you just watching Game of Thrones. And I think it's just our ego telling us, like, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it at some point. And really what we have to do is accept the fact that we're not going to freaking do it, or we're going to do it at the last minute. How about we start trying to be honest with ourselves about what we're able to do and what we're willing to do? We're not even honest with ourselves. We're lying to ourselves every single day about what we're able to do. And yeah, that's the first step to curing procrastination, is accepting that you're not going to do it. And then finding a way to do it that's going to be easier. Not optimal, not better, not excellent, but just starting, doing it in an easy way for you. Another example, you need to cook for yourself. You've been ordering online way too much, but you know you're not going to do it. You know you're not going to start cooking just because you told yourself you needed to save some money, and just because you told yourself you needed to be healthier. You're not going to do it. Just tell yourself you're not going to do it. Not in the optimal way. If you've been procrastinating on it for 2 weeks, you're not going to start magically doing it tomorrow. So just start accepting that you're not going to do it that way. And now, instead of just doing it all week, start by doing it 1 day a week, 2 days a week. Or if you don't enjoy cooking, if that's your thing, if that's your problem, put on Game of Thrones or put on whatever, a podcast, put on this video, go to my channel. I have some pretty interesting videos that you can watch while you're cooking. But I'm just giving you a bunch of random examples here, but stop lying to yourself. It's that simple, man. Procrastination is just an ego thing. It's our ego. It's our ego that tells us that we're gonna do it. We're not, and that's fine. But now that we know that, how can we make sure that we get it done in an easier way? So next time you're procrastinating, don't blame yourself. Don't knock yourself on the head. Don't insult yourself. Don't be hard on yourself for it. Accept the way you are. Accept that you procrastinate sometimes. Accept that the thing is hard to do. But then do it. And it doesn't need to be excellent. Just needs to be done. Just start by getting it done. Once you get it done once, you can get it done twice, and 3 times, and 4 times, and the 5th time, maybe you're going to be ready to do a little improvement on the way that you study. So, if you're procrastinating right now, and you're watching this video, or you know you have an exam in 3 days, and you haven't started studying, like, don't beat yourself up right now. But start right now, and go get a little snack. Go get some ramen noodles that you're going to be able to eat while you're studying. Or tell yourself that you're going to have a good non-alcoholic beer after doing your studying. Maybe for you that's going to make it easier to do. But find what it is that's going to encourage you to do it and make it super duper easy. Or just a tiny little bit easier. Maybe that's all you need, that little push. If you're procrastinating, accept it and then do it. I really think that's all there is to it. Holy shit. The water's coming in. Holy fuck. The tide is going up, I think. If you enjoyed this video, I would highly appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel and maybe hit the like button. Like I said, I started this YouTube channel in an easier way for me. And maybe that does hurt performance. Maybe I'm not getting a ton of views. But I know that if this reaches the right person at the right time, I know it's going to have a big impact on them. And I know it's going to help them because it's helped me tremendously. So if you like this video and if you like to think about life in different ways and learn about yourself, learn through the lens of other people, no matter if you're young or old, subscribe to the channel. Go watch some other videos I've made. Some are pretty good, some are not as good. Just figure it out. But yeah, I appreciate the support of those of you who are going to watch this video, if there are any. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.